your neck of the woods. Data privacy, privacy. I'm sticking with data privacy. Seven most important questions to ask around data privacy in your enterprise environment. And here we go. Let's just get into it, shall we? They're on the screen already, so you can quickly over there look at them, read them. Underneath all of this is a massive data set. You can purchase the data set and have a look at it, what's in there in the link down below. And I'll walk you through the seven most important questions to ask right now, and the relationships and the job roles, the functions that you need to have in your organization, the recommendations that come out of those questions to fulfill in your organization to make sure you're doing the right thing. I like how my hair looks, by the way. Yeah, that's standing up a bit. Need a haircut. All right, let's make myself smaller. There we go. Poof, I'm smaller now. There in the corner. Got to get the big screen up. Where are we? We are there. Done. Okay, let's start with question number one. Is staff aware on privacy and security risks and trained on personal data protection? We open it up. We get to see some of the recommendations that are underneath that. And first of all, we get to see the job roles, the job functions that need to take care of that. We have the data protection manager, the compliance manager, and the data privacy officer that need to take care of that. Staff aware on privacy and security risks and trained on personal data protection. Have a program ready to build and maintain staff and make sure that you're doing this. Ensure privacy of data is collected. And how is a security breach response plan in place to prevent unauthorized access to data protection regulation? And have a look at the GDPR, for instance, data protection. That's a EU regulation, the GDPR. This relates to privacy protection, the safeguarding of an individual's personal information from unauthorized access and inappropriate use. So that's data privacy. Pretty straightforward. Is staff aware on privacy and security risk and trained on personal data protection? So you need to assess potential and existing employees and third parties for insider risks and have privacy and protection of personal data. For example, do a privacy audit. What does it entail in your organization? Okay, let's move on to the next question. Do you have any concerns out of the seven most important questions? By the way, these important questions come out of a data set that has this data set down below. Let's have a look. It has 321 critical priority questions. And the critical priority questions, they're all 321 of them regarding data privacy, are all prioritized against each other based on an algorithm. And the most important questions bubble up to the top once they're prioritized like that against each other. So second question, out of the 321, these are the top seven most important questions to address. Do you have any concerns regarding data security and information privacy that should be incorporated in the application development? Here we go. Have effective cybersecurity and data privacy. Protect privacy and confidentiality of data and make sure that your subjects have the right to object or complain. Disclose a privacy and security policy shared with any other data privacy policies to control corporate data processing authorizations. Yep. Employ any strategies or avoid certain things to retain privacy. That's an interesting one. Avoid certain things as well. Don't just go ahead and move forward like a bull in a china shop, but avoid certain things as well. Account for clearly to users. How do you account for clearly to users the purpose of the information that you're gathering actually? Do you have any concerns regarding data security and information privacy that should be incorporated in the application development when you're starting out to develop an application or when you're doing an application audit? These are the people related to that, the data security specialist and the data protection officer. And it relates to data warehousing, the saving of data in your organization and using it. And use data warehousing consulting to help organizations design and implement data privacy measures to ensure the secure storage of sensitive data. All right, that was question number 2. We go down here. I'll leave them open for a reason, because in the end, we'll have an excellent roadmap around data privacy and the 7 most important questions to ask, the activities to put in place, the job roles, the functions that you need to have, and the questions that you need to ask them. How does privacy and data security legislation affect the use of information in public policy activities? There we go. Compliance monitor, security analyst, and questions you can be asking is ensure HIPAA compliance if you're dealing with HIPAA for data privacy, and data security and privacy is protected by privacy policy for the purpose of collecting data in a new app, for instance. So monitor that. Have contact information sorted and identified. What is the purpose of collecting data through your new digital reality, basically? Security analyst, compliance monitor, and we see here those little gray numbers as well. These gray numbers, they address the importance. So the higher the number, that's a calculation of how important the question is in relation to all of the other questions. So the higher the number, the more important the question is. So these are the 7 most important ones. So we'll see that this one addresses the highest out of those 3. So this is the top one of those 3. Now, 4 more to go. Does the use of hardware security modules for encryption and data management reduce the time spent on demonstrating compliance with privacy and data security and privacy requirements? Hardware security modules for encryption and key management. So are there any ways that you can reduce the time spent on demonstrating compliance? Are there ways that you can automate that? Making sure that you can automate that. So these are then, open it up. This is related to privacy protection. It's the safeguarding of an individual's personal information from unauthorized access and inappropriate use. And you manage storage and access to specialized hardware here to take care of that. What's next in hardware? Do you need a software firewall or a hardware firewall? Cooperate with manufacturers of hardware. Control information sharing effectively while minimizing compliance. And those are the actions that you can be looking at here. And the job functions, they're pretty similar to the other ones. If I move this around, we get to see it is one up here. There we go. Job role. It's related to these ones. Data protection manager and the compliance manager. Question number 4. Now we got the question number 5. Let's pick, which one shall we pick out of the 3 that are left? Which one looks juicy? Let's start with this one. What risks would your organization face if there were a privacy or security breach involving the data portfolio? Are you actually asking that in your organization with data breaches abound these days? Data security encompasses a range of measures used to protect the privacy and integrity of personal data. And what you do about that, the recommendations, the best ideas, regularly meet with service users face to face. Can you afford the cost of a data breach? Do you capture and use metrics to ensure a good blend of digital and face-to-face metrics? Make the business case for investing hard-won income back to the investment options in the analysis of the risks. Actually, is the capturing the risk and taking sure of the risk worth it? Basically, have managerial support for your organizational privacy policy, and these are then the job roles that we need to take care of that. Penetration tester, compliance officer. About those job roles, the data set down below, I said before that there's 321 critical priority questions. We're doing 7 out of those, but there's also extensive job roles in there. There's 126 specific job roles in there. And those job roles, just a little bit of a side street, if I open this one up, it'll show you what, I hope there's more. Yep, penetration tester. There's more that a penetration tester needs to be taken care of. These are all the activities that the penetration tester needs to take care of. And these are all the questions that they need to address to make sure that you're making sure that penetration testing in the light of data privacy is taken care of. So all that data is in that data set. 126 in total. Job roles, job functions. Without further ado, the next 2 questions. Is your information security and data privacy policy in compliance with industry standards and regulations? Do you even know which industry standards and regulations there are? Looking at you, GDPR. There we go. Data regulation is the set of rules and laws that help protect people's personal data by controlling how it is collected, used, and stored. All right, what we need here, the people that we need are the compliance officer. Is there another one? There's another one up here somewhere. Yeah, and the data protection officer. Those are the people that we need here. And the actions that we're looking for here, the recommendations, have potential data privacy or data breach incident notification. Allow your workforce to share sensitive information. Do you actually do that? Do you allow your workforce to share sensitive information? You go like, yeah, we're managing this. Use machine learning to get information, to learn from all this information, and apply AI best practices. Have privacy policies and processes designed to preserve the privacy shield. Make sure that you're certified. Now let's go down to the last question out of the top 7 most important questions to ask while I'm looking at the time. What are the data security and information privacy issues affecting companies' international operations? That'll be interesting because when your data is stored in Facebook, Google, etc., they are all facing those problems, of issues at least, that you need to have your data, especially in Europe, stored where it's being used. So you can't move data cross border. And that's something that you need to be addressing and worried about. Um, the data security and information privacy issues affecting companies' international operation. What do you use to control the information as a network operator specifically? And there's more questions, more recommendations up here that address that, and they're related to those ones as well. This one says, for example, spend managing content chaos, specifically either filing and maintaining information. How much time do you spend on that? What are the data security and information privacy issues affecting companies' international operations? So make sure that you're taking care of that. So if I zoom this out, I actually now have a roadmap of all the areas that I need to be covering in data privacy. So I need to be looking at my data warehousing. I need to be looking at data legislation. So let's just click on this one. I need to be looking at data warehousing. I need to be looking at data legislation. What's in place now, what's coming down the turnpike, and what's coming up in the future that we need to be taking care of. So monitor the landscape continuously. The European Union is way ahead of the pack in that regard. So focus on that one. Just add a Google alert and see what comes up. Privacy protection, make sure you're doing that. Data security, do that. Data regulation, have a look at those. Workplace privacy. So what do you do with the privacy of your workers, of your staff? What kind of data and how do you manage their workplace data, the workplace data that you're getting from them? So data privacy. These are all the 7 main questions you can be asking. You should be asking in your organization, and then have the correct answers related to that one. As in, you're looking for these green balls here. You're looking for these areas to make sure that that is being done. Now, those green balls, those are the recommendations. Again, in the data set below, there's recommendations, and I'm looking up the number right now: 1,494. Recommendations, and the recommendations are all aligned to questions like you're seeing here, and the questions are related and the recommendations are related to job roles, functions, and overarching areas like privacy protection, etc. Let's have a quick peek at those overarching areas. What are they? There's a lot of them. Let's have a look. Opening up the main area: data privacy, and these are all the related areas, so the green bluish balls that we've seen before. So data privacy, if I open up here, data regulation, you get to see the people that surround that are related to that, and this, when I open this up, you get to see the questions that are related to data regulation. And if I select one question, I can then see what kind of recommendations there are against that question to make sure we're doing the right thing. So if I'm only looking at data regulation, these are the questions I'll be asking. These are the people that I need to be involving here: compliance officer, data privacy manager, data protection officer. And when I'm focusing on one question, like pulling out this one, these are the things that I need to be looking for in that area. Now, if I just want to do data regulation and all of the actions that it involves, then I'll just have a look at this, and I've got my data regulation in relationship to data privacy roadmap. There we go. So these are all the questions you need to be asking of those 3 people. And in regards to data regulation, all the questions you need to be asking and all the recommendations that I should have a look at, which ones to implement, which ones to have in place, which ones we should do. Again, all this data available in the data set below. It contains 126 data privacy function descriptions, 321 data privacy critical priority questions, and 1,494 data privacy recommendations, which will give you all the insight and oversight. It comes in a neat booklet in a text format as well, the whole data set, so you can do with it as you please. With that, I thank you for your attendance. Thank you for being here, and let me, before I leave you, pull up on the screen the 7 most important questions to ask. So I'll leave you with these ones. 7 most important questions to ask. Make it so. And be good to data privacy, and be good to each other today. Have a great day. Thank you. See you again tomorrow.